The sages of the Talmud ruled that a Jewish army may not lay siege to a city within 3 days of Shabbos. And the reason for this is so that when Shabbos comes in, that they are not in a state of being hassled or distressed. However, this only applies to a war where there is no life-threatening situation. When there is a Milchemes Mitzvah, a war that involves protecting Jews and saving Jewish lives in a life-threatening situation, then there are no considerations. One may even lay the siege on Shabbos itself. The same passage of the Gemara then tells us that once a siege has been laid, then even on Shabbos they may continue to lay siege against the city, and we derive this from the pasuk in last week's parsha, which says ad ridata, that when you lay a siege to a city, you continue until it has been conquered. So that means even when there is no immediate life-threatening danger, one continues to maintain that siege even on Shabbos itself, even though we know that the violation of Shabbos is considered a very serious prohibition. What is the reason for this? So there are a number of reasons we can explain. Number one is to lift the siege and to take off the pressure from the siege would be a threat in the long run, because it allows the time for the enemies to regroup, to recoup, to regain their strength and to reform, and ultimately down the track become a threat to the Jewish people. A second reason is this would lower the morale of the soldiers who are fighting. That they have laid siege, they see themselves in pursuit of victory, on the threshold of victory, and to have to stop on Shabbos would lower their morale and their fighting ability to continue the siege after Shabbos and bring about a victory. And I think the lesson is very clear for the war that Israel is fighting currently in Gaza. Yes, thank God we have our enemies on the back foot, and thank God we have made tremendous inroads, the soldiers taking out many of our enemy forces and their weaponry. But there are calls from around the world for a ceasefire, that we've done enough damage and that it's time to stop and to make a negotiation and to leave the remaining soldiers and leadership of Hamas intact. We learn from the words of our sages that this would be a tremendous mistake and it would be a tremendous tragedy, and one which ultimately the Rabbi says is forbidden to do. That even on Shabbos one continues to push forward with a full press, with a full siege, with a full campaign of attack on our enemies, so that God forbid they should never become a hostile force again that threatens our people. And number two, to keep the morale of our soldiers high as they continue ad ridata until the full conquest and all our enemies are vanquished.